So, why do we have such a big room this year?
You didn't schedule.
Oh no, I didn't do the schedule.
I didn't do the schedule.
Well, there's a problem here. Cool. What do we talk about here?
Minamicon.
Ah, so good level. He can actually ask questions. I'm doing the
He did the schedule. Blame him.
Yeah. Wait, no, we all did it.
No, remember we said this would be good because then when it switches to the closing ceremony, this room's
It's
ready.
always open rounds.
Well, let's make it run short.
Okay.
Guys, you think we can do this in less than an hour?
Yeah.
Okay,
My battery would appreciate that.
Yeah. That's a good start.
And we do.
Close the curtains, or is it okay on the camera? It's not bad.
Okay. So, we're actually thinking of doing this in Canada. Who would go to Canada?
Choose a question.
Can we pick somewhere warmer?
How about Japan?
We can do it in Japan, I like that idea.
Let's
Bring it to Australia so I don't have to travel this time.
Everyone has to travel.
And don't Penguins will be
Yeah. I think we'll be fit.
No, we're not doing Minami in my house.
Can we have Ben here more often? It seems very smooth.
Alright. Just like, clearly I couldn't function today. Let's start with variety show stuff, I guess.
Yeah, we'll start from Friday.
So, what do people think about, well, are we starting start of Friday or mid?
Let's do chronological order, it's the easiest.
Okay. Is 1 o'clock start better than 2 o'clock start?
Yes.
Will people actually come earlier now that we actually tell them that we're going to start at 1?
Yeah. Might need a bit more notice, I think.
Yeah, that was an accident. We had too much stuff going on, so we have to add extra hours.
So now we've got a whole year of notice. Is getting here for 1 o'clock if you want to be here a problem?
No problem.
No more so than 2.
No more so
Yeah.
than 2. So generally you're happy with the starting at 1?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that's great.
No need to go earlier than that.
Yeah.
If you want to be there at the start, you've got to travel on Thursday.
Well, basically, if you're not travelling from far away, then you come from midday on the Friday.
Like longer than an hour and a half.
Then you can come on the Thursday.
We're doing an endeavour to put the schedule up
What time?
at least a week.
8 a.m.
It was slightly later this year for
Yeah,
other reasons.
yeah, we do need to schedule up a bit earlier.
Yeah. But it will start from 1 o'clock in that but the schedule we do endeavour to put up
As soon as we can.
Yeah. As soon as it's ready.
Essentially, if you guys want the schedule up earlier, my suggestion would be all of you volunteer to do events next year and let us know maybe in about a month.
Okay, cool. Next week. What do people think about cutting down the video room down to 1 a little bit room? Is that okay? Do we need more videos or not? Less videos so we can do other stuff.
Me, no problem. Don't really come. I'm not sure.
Download stuff nowadays.
I know.
And we could stream it on our hotel room.
It's not retro if you don't have anything.
I think having one room is enough because generally people don't go to the anime room unless it's something they really, really want to see or they've got a spare hour.
I forgot to ask you to check it. Was there people in those rooms?
There were
They
people
were,
in the rooms
yeah. When I was
sometimes.
there, it was quite quiet. Both times I was there, so I think.
Demographics changed.
Yeah, it's not just that. We had to cut out the live action programme this year because of some rights issues.
But yeah, we could cut down to 1 room and then you can make Phil run the puzzle room again.
How many people did the puzzle room?
It was completely filled.
It was fully subscribed, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think in exchange for the locked room, I think everyone would quite happily sacrifice 1 room of video to have that locked room
Oh,
again.
God, it's double room.
They're just both looking at me now with the angriest face.
And that's like complete.
I think we should have a locked room puzzle and it's ops.
And take all of these cables.
From how badly I hear the ops team did at it, they would never escape.
No, that is true. Cool. Let me go to the variety show then.
Well, the Matsuri part of it first of all. So the fairground with the stall fronts and everything else, are you guys still enjoying that?
Yes.
Did you like the fact that it started earlier, ran for a bit longer?
Yeah.
Was it too long?
Gives us time to mingle. Shane guys can stay.
And you don't mind it taking up pretty much the whole of the ground floor, leaving not much else on at that time?
Yeah, I think the other question. Will people, well, it might be unfair for the event people. Will people want events running at the same time as the Matsuri?
Not really.
We already had.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a
Yeah.
party social event.
Yeah, we had one event that overran, and I think everyone more or less. We were just really enjoying the panel, so we didn't want to.
Yeah.
But by the time we got in there, no food was left as well.
There wasn't enough food this year.
Food, wherever there is, I mean, the food for that room is really expensive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fair
they,
enough.
Yeah, I mean, everyone who comes here knows, but after the first one, it's a free for all. You get their
The
first
problem
thing,
is,
but
there's twofold on the food. One is it's very expensive. We afford what we can, we put it in. Then you'll see some people, they don't get the idea of sharing, to be quite frank. You see 3 or 4 people stood at the table, sort of, gan it, plate like this.
Do you need signs on the table then saying don't be a douchebag? You know,
Honestly, I don't think that anybody's a douchebag. They don't
less
realise.
people might do it. There will always be people.
it's actually-
If you have someone behind the table,
to be honest,
This is
also
why I'm
like-
glad I went to McDonald's beforehand.
Why do you work
On the other hand,
doing?
So, that first over there.
Why do you work doing more than one round of food?
they keep coming through. I don't think the hotel staff managed to make it to the table before the food went or disappeared.
yeah, there were people diving for the plates before it was even down.
Man the tables and give food out.
That's not how that works. That won't work.
That's not
I think
going to
perhaps
work.
making it clear either with signage or with something in the conduct that you're not supposed to treat it as your evening meal.
Yeah.
That it's snacks.
Snacks.
And
Well, I
please
guess-
treat it as snacks and have a couple of sandwiches and a sausage roll,
Conduct-
not
yeah.
12 skewers, 6 slices of pizza.
Yeah,
You know, all of that.
conduct notification worked well with soap 10 years ago. So it can work with food.
Yeah.
So,
If we take away that food and put snacks, as in sweets and stuff instead, would that be better or you're saying it's-
What permissions do you have to do it? Because you've got outside catering in that room. You've got the popcorn and the other
I
stuff.
think we were already pushing it as much as we can.
Okay,
yeah.
so you wouldn't be allowed to put out bowls of
I think that with savoury snacks, because it's easy for people to eat, and it's something, if you have too much sweets, it really just doesn't work so well. And I think the main thing is just to say to everyone that it's not a full meal, let's just share and be friendly to each other.
Definitely signage or notification.
Yeah, we just have to find the right wording, because I don't think anyone knows.
Yeah.
That may be a good idea.
yeah,
I like the smaller plates, it helps emphasise it straight away.
or a sign that just says like 2 pieces of whatever minimum, a
Yeah,
maximum.
1 or 2 items.
Is it feasible to do something more like a buffet where you have a table with people who queue up and go along, just have gophers or something behind you just to say no?
About
The
that,
problem is it's just the amount of people that we have.
You need
What's
to
happened
do
is
it.
we only used to get 100 people at the show.
Friday.
Initially, people would go out on Friday night. And then that's gone up and up and up. This year we had 250 to 300 there.
Pretty much everyone.
Which was, everyone uses it as social and we love that aspect. But the problem is you're trying to get 300 people down one row of tables and one poor squad of gophers. It just doesn't work. With 100 people it can work. With 300, I think the gophers would be
I think
fearful
the
alive.
best bet is just.
Can we give out goodie bags per person or something? I don't know.
I don't know if it would work, but could you, for registration, you have a ticket that's coloured and actually stagger it, like you have 3 rounds so that 100 can only go through?
Let's do this really simply. Let's just say, and put a couple of signs out, put smaller plates on and say, be nice to each other. And let's be intelligent, which is what the army's all about.
So the other way to do it is to actually preload plates, to actually have small plates like a couple of things on it, people would they
Just
just
on the table.
leave those out on tables? I don't think we are.
Okay guys, we have to get on, so shall we move on from this?
I mean, we will look into doing,
Well, what I've got a note of is smaller plates, signage to say please share. I'm going to emphasise the fact that it's not a meal, it is a snack for everyone to have. So I think those points alone will improve the situation.
we normally have the food out and ready before the doors open, but since we're starting earlier, that the food came later rather than being there, and we have a lot of crowding around the table. So, would people care if we put the food out when the show is
Have it come when it comes because it's hotter if they serve it fresh.
Oh, they'll come. I mean, like the initial batch will be on the table, and we'll let people in once the food.
Anyway, we've spent too long on this.
Okay, so the actual game show side of it, how did everyone feel about that? Oh, sorry.
Would it be possible to cater for a couple of dietary requirements as well?
We try our best, but it's the hotel. It's harder because we treat that as more as a gift to.
Okay.
We can't do.
It's supposed to just be a little extra thing rather than a meal for everyone. And there's stuff like popcorn, which is obviously just popcorn and the
there should be
sugar.
a mixture of stuff there. We normally try and label it, but the hotel was really slow at label some of the stuff this year, so mainly because the plate didn't make it to the table.
Yeah, it was actually. It actually felt quite bad for the hotel staff this year in places, as they were being accosted all the way from the doors to the table. And at one side, if that happens again a few times, I'd probably say we're not going to do food in future. We need to stop that and actually start behaving like adults again.
There's no way to get a route for them, is there, because of the doors and everything?
We may be able to do something, but we just have to remind people to treat each other nicely. I think that would help along the way.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so moving on to the actual variety show. Sorry? Oh, what, the stall fronts?
As in the stalls.
Yeah. Okay. Were people happy with the variety of games actually on the fairground?
What do you like this year the most?
The pinatas are always good fun.
Yeah, that's always good to say. So yeah.
What's actually over robots were great.
Oh, those things.
I didn't see that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Someone actually used them. Yes.
Fortune telling games is fun.
So what?
The fortune telling game, the chocolates was quite fun.
Yeah. It was cool having the Oculus in the corner. That was cool. Yeah. Would have been nice to have something other than the Vocaloid demo, but obviously, you know,
There's an Oculus?
you get what you can.
There's a big sign hanging from the ceiling.
I had 7 shaved ice, and that's what I spotted.
That's a lot of ice there.
It's a lot of sugar to give one man.
I think Granny needs it.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Okay. So, how did people feel with the variety show, the pacing and the content of the games?
Was the variety show too long this year for people? It was longer this year because it went for about an hour and
Maybe it's a
45.
higher percentage of that time was spent playing games.
Yeah, it felt more paced.
We did have exactly the same number, well, every year for the last, I don't know how long we've been doing this. Too long. We always have 8 games every year.
But it's less time you spend on the games.
Yeah, it's interesting when people say kind of, you know, there was more time spent playing games, and for me in my head I'm like, but it's the same number.
It's games this year were a lot messier than
I can agree with that.
I think the ones with the cream should probably be left till last because it takes quite a while to actually clean up the desks.
The cream was a mistake.
No, the cream wasn't too bad, the shaving thing was.
Yes.
Well, that's the one I meant, but yeah.
They have to tip themselves.
But do you know what? If we do that again, a good thing is to get towels, because that was kind of when people came off stage with a face full of cream, and I was like, oh, shit, yeah.
Hindsight, 2020.
Can I just suggest with the drawing-based ones or any of the art-based ones, is it possible to give people, instead of giving people whatever they're using to draw, give them a dead thick black marker, so that anybody more than 10 feet away from the stage can actually see what's being drawn?
Yes.
They can see absolutely nothing of what they've drawn.
Again, because I could not see anything.
Yeah, I'm making a note of that. That's
Yeah,
good.
ones are actually full of ink because I think some of them were running out.
Yeah. I mean, you can buy new markers for like £1 for 5.
Yeah, no, we
There's a Staples over the road anyway.
Ludicrously thick Italian markers.
That would be good. I like that.
Or we give them paintbrushes.
Can you trust them with paint? Can you trust them with Minamicon guys with paint after a few pints?
The other thing that people mentioned.
Can you trust them with paint without it?
How much of it is?
So how much of the game is that the people at the beginning do or don't know what it is that they're supposed to be drawing? Could they be given a quick flash of some picture reference before they start?
Yeah, who knows without reference these days? Come on.
And it's because there's so many things.
Don't they usually get given options until they find one that they do know?
It's like, I don't know what that is.
We normally just say, do you know this guy, this character, and they go, yeah.
Part of the
And if
humor
they
I
say
think behind
no,
it is
you
them
give them
trying
an
to
option.
remember things and getting things wrong.
Cool. Now, this is going to be a fun one. Do people actually care about the disco anymore? I know this year is exceptionally bad because we have Tab's panel running, which kind of took everyone.
Even before Tab's panel started, the dance floor was pretty empty. I had it completely to myself for about 4 songs.
That's normal for that's what doesn't really get popular until like later on. But this year, since Tab's panel is running on to the end at the same time,
Don't schedule anything against the hentai.
These are all sick bastards.
There is that. Andy and I in Cambridge have run Psycho Candy, and we've run, basically for the past 5 years, we've run pop culture stuff, and it's not just Japanese stuff or whatever, we put everything nerdy, internet-based into it, so...
Of the disco, I think, is really awesome. But every time I shove my head around the corner to have a look at it, it's always been, the music's not been bad, it's just been really obscure.
Yeah, I will say,
I wasn't sitting there going, this is a really great song. I'll watch the anime because I've never seen this before.
I will say, I was in the disco for quite a while because I was fursuiting and just dicking around and dressed as a pig.
Friday
I don't know if anyone saw that.
I saw it.
But I didn't know a single song.
Yeah, and
I didn't know any of them.
That has been the problem, which is why we started doing our
a
own
lot of
thing
the songs
in
were
Psycho Candy.
requests from the people that was there, rather than
right.
Because since there's no one else there, the song was.
So if you want something broader, Andy and I are happy to contribute. So I'm not sure whether that direction
Well,
needs
the
taking.
next point I want to say is like we can see if we could cut this disco size down further. So the room you're sitting in.
I don't think it needs to be physically that large.
Oh no, so we could cut this
last
room.
15 years.
It'd be the size of the
Yeah, and we could just have the size of the deals room as the dance thing, and we could have another panel area, but that might kill the disco even more.
Turn the disco into a smaller area, so number one, you don't have huge barren dance floor problem. If you've got a giant dance floor with no one on it, people get really intimidated. If you've got a small area, people are more likely to go up and have a dance.
We've been changing that area a bit because they were, before it was just a dance floor type thing, and then we added table and chairs for people there, and that kind of went, and that kind of got picked up again, and this year it died really badly because of extra stuff running.
I think if you make the room smaller and you broaden the appeal of it, as in make it pop culture rather than very specific, this obscure bit of anime, then
I think that's just specifically this year because it hasn't necessarily been that always in the past.
Yep.
But for the last 10 to 15 years, I've never seen more than 20 people dancing in the disco.
Every time I've come to an anime
take
disco,
part
it's
of
been
it,
very
but
obscure.
also, if you have any discussion with Congoers, the reason they're at Minami isn't to have mad parties. There are other events that do that.
push them till 3 o'clock in the morning. That's when the mad parties happen.
When do you get the chance to dance?
When we run an event in Cambridge.
So nice.
Other event doesn't really do Japanese dance anyway.
Yeah, but too much of it can be obscure for the.
I think the problem was there were several songs where there was literally no one dancing. So
You can
Don't chat with Lucy.
don't get rid of it.
Don't get rid of it.
To be honest, I love the disco. I do. I mean, usually I do go to it and dance to it every year. But then this year we had the panel next door, and everybody pretty much crowded into that. And I don't think having a panel which is so popular next to it.
Timing.
Yeah. I get that. I do get that. I just. I don't think that's helped with it this year. That's
I guess
because I actually missed it this year because I was there. I was like, I really wanted to go to both. It's like
maybe on Friday you have the hentai panel, on Saturday you have a disco or something. I don't know.
Or other way around. One or the other.
Yeah, but if people don't want to sing, then at least they can go and dance. So I don't know.
Some of it's what rooms are available.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
spaces are.
What about swapping the head type panel or something like the pub quiz or something like that?
They already had to compete against Cow's Us.
That time last year, or the year before, the disco was still pretty dead.
So it wasn't as dead as.
It wasn't as dead, but it wasn't. I don't think it's ever been the best use of space. So unless you're going to completely relaunch and tell people come to this because it's going to be a party event, or you can just accept we're not here to party.
I do like having. I do definitely like having a disco. I do like getting my groove on.
Well, we will consider like
on it.
Cool.
Yeah. Particularly if we
stop it.
if we do make the disco smaller, potentially giving us 2 event rooms, that gives us a few more options because we don't have the problem that we have at the moment where any event outside the disco has to be an event that competes with the disco noise-wise.
If you make the room smaller and get more different
Well,
DJs.
the pub game stuff is Sunday, so.
And Thursday.
Okay. So is that Friday done?
That is right for now. We're going to go to the masquerade. I love this. What do people think about having all the walk-ons at once, followed by skits?
No, I felt that having it separated like that, a better way of saying it, where it's mixed up like in previous years, is that it breaks it up a little bit, so you don't have too much of one thing, or...
I would say certain skits suffered because they were going up against. You just watched a really good skit, and you watched a sort of meh skit, and then you watched
mixing the skits in is a better way.
We were trying it this year because it's technically a lot less challenging to do one thing.
And don't get me wrong, it's so much easier to edit, but I think to actually watch, it would be better to be mixed up.
The other consideration that led to this was that we'd previously had a lot of cosplayers saying they wanted to watch the skits, but they got scheduled after them, so they were...
Yeah, and especially with the video problems of last year, like when nobody filmed the masquerade.
Well, to be fair, they were meant to. There was an issue.
Pete took the blame for that on the forum, and it wasn't his fault at all. It was me.
Oh.
I think took the blame might be a strong word.
Is it forum?
Apparently we got a website as well.
As someone who regularly enters Minami Masquerade, whilst I do regret not being able to watch the skits, that's just something that as a cosplayer...
I mean, we do have the video feed through this year compared.
It's quite handy, but I'm short-sighted, so I can't see for shit.
I even give you sound this year. I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, if that can be, decent, then that's fine.
What about if we used to project the next
to run the cable that far down.
What, into the wall?
The connector for the
Stream on the
projectors is
internet.
over at the bottom side,
Easy, it always goes
and we
well.
can't put the screen down.
Is that like...
Unless we position the deal is that we can put the screen down.
Is it like what they did at Army 12? Where they put some of the screens up and they had some of the screens that showed the masquerade in the in the bar?
The bars are public areas, so we can't do anything like that.
Just an idea.
Yeah, we've been asking for years, can we take over so that it's not real news, but...
I'd like to make a comment about the masquerade. I found the lighting was really a bit dull. I couldn't see the costumes in proper, in actually physically lighting, and the screens were not very bright, so I couldn't see them on the screens either. People have put a lot of effort into the colours and stuff. That
the
lighting very drab.
I actually disagree. I don't know, maybe if you were...
This is true everywhere, every single room, even last night in the karaoke room, just trying to look at the cable.
Yeah.
We couldn't even tell which was plus and minus because the lighting's so dull this year.
Maybe they've changed out the bulbs.
I think they may have gone to an energy efficient bulb.
But you can bring in, if you want to, you can bring in extra lights that just shine spotlights or something like that.
We already run a significant loss every year.
Well then increase the cost.
We do.
I would...
The problem is,
No, I mean, if Minamicon becomes £60, not £50, who is going to stop coming?
It's weird. Convention economics is a complete topic in itself. I won't go into.
I think the cost is an issue, but we don't know what the light is
Anyway,
going to be
that
like
was my
because this is
comment,
definitely
anyway.
different to what it was
very hard to see
previously.
the cost.
I think if you look at it in the very short term, like, even though if we raise the price from £50 to £60,
It's too big.
that only generates a small sum of money because we have to take all the fees and stuff, and the number of people is like 350. That's like £3.5 and that. I think that barely brings us even.
that wasn't the discussion I wanted to have.
Yeah, that's
but
good.
I was just saying.
But yeah, the lighting thing, we can look into it, but because like this year's the lighting were a lot darker, and we can look into it because we were expecting the same set lighting from last year. So.
Sorry, one other thing. The other problem is, of course, if you do push more light forward onto the cosplayers, so if they show up, you won't be able to see the screens because you'll be blowing the screens out. So it kind of swings around.
Unless you spend considerably more on the screens, and then that's a cycle.
Well, yeah, screens and things are built in.
Yeah, you have projectors.
The only thing I can possibly offer as an idea is maybe dim the lights on the audience area and just keep the lights on the area where they're walking.
We have no control front to back this way, so we can dim this end. It's all in one control.
This isn't some kind of concert venue. It's a hotel. It's a business conference.
When we had it running the other way, we were able to turn the lights off over the audience and then just have that one room with the lights on at the end. So I think that worked really well for lighting wise, but
for people that sat at the back, they can't see
anything because they were too far away. So it's a little bit swings
Maybe
and
that's something we
roundabouts.
could do if we had a light rig.
We could look into it later.
The thing is, every year we're going to find a surprise. Every year something will change, and this year the surprise for us was, oh crap, it's really dull in here. Now next year it might be, oh crap, something else has gone wrong.
As someone who regularly ends up sitting at the back because I'm too lazy to queue up, I generally found that it was easier to see in the other setup because you saw people walking past.
Yeah, you look at it.
Whereas I just sort of
agree.
end up in the middle at the back, and it's like, oh, they're over there, they're over there. Oh my god.
I agree. I think the previous setup was better. It doesn't matter what seats you had. The previous setup, somehow you could see more. You could be
You
more
can see the
engaged.
costume, but we have a lot of problems about skips as well.
I strongly disagree with that, for the record.
I don't know if it was ever brought up in previous years. It was said that it couldn't be done or whatever. But I seem to remember when we had the previous setup, the very far back seats were on a stage. Is there any way of getting the stage in the current setup for the back seats, so that they might actually have a better chance of seeing?
We need significantly more staging, wouldn't we?
They only have small number of stages because we're doing lengthwise. It's a significantly larger amount. We only have 9 pieces of stage basically. What you saw in the Friday show, that's all the stage you can have. The rest will hire somebody in.
That was a nice stage this year.
That was nice.
It was a new stage.
For the rebroadcasting, for the stuff that comes off the computer, each projector replicates the image, but I don't know why you still have the video camera seems to replicate on the 2 side ones.
We don't have.
So is it just not having a signal splitter for the outputs?
It's the distance we have to travel.
Okay.
The reason that we're so late last year is I was trying to have all 3 screens working.
Okay.
And that just died.
Okay, because I've ended up being sat in different places, and if you're in the middle screen, watching the screen is actually, for me, was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But on the sides, it's...
The side screen is basically the camcorder. I mean, if we invest in a better camcorder to get better recording, maybe that will help. And we don't get, because of the distance, we can't get good signal into the wall, so that's where your degradation is coming from as well.
Got a couple of points, but am I allowed to talk about the prices yet or not?
You can do, yeah.
Do you think it's a good idea because we've got an increasing number of children per year, do you think it's a good idea to have the children have a separate small prize pot rather than take from the table?
Oh no, it's okay because I sort the children out separately, so I actually know what's in the bags.
It's just that I think it's more for the parents' gain, and also I don't think having the prize was a good idea.
No, we've done, it's mostly the plushes and stuff for the children. separate up already.
Oh, so was that a separate point? You don't think that the normal adult price is being wrapped is a good idea?
Yes, normal adult prices shouldn't be
I think it
wrapped.
was a fine idea.
I thought it was a really good idea.
When people, it's like Tavern Christian, like they always win something. It's like some Left and Tables, just like Expo DVDs have probably already got.
But the whole
That's why
point
the
of
whole point
wrapping is
is-
you don't know what they are.
Yeah.
If the whole point is all the good stuff goes first and all the not quite so good stuff ends up last.
Yeah.
This way it's a full, you have no idea what you're going to get.
Sorry, the whole reason for wrapping the prizes is basically we want Minami to be fun, non-competitive.
The Masquerade is not competitive.
Yeah.
This is all joke. The prizes are there.
They're tokens basically, and we feel like if somebody goes up first, they may feel that person's first place, they get first pick of the litter. So we just wanted to obscure that basically.
Nobody's better than anybody.
I mean, the whole point of doing.
I participated in Masquerade last year and I did win a prize. I mean, I was probably one of the second or third people to pick a prize, and I did get something nice. But I do understand that people who came last, you know, they probably got something smaller or something that they didn't want. So I do agree and I do believe that it is a nicer idea because it's just random. You just get a prize. You get something for your efforts and you get something for your costume.
And the whole
That's it.
thing is, if you get something that you hate, you can put it in the free Minami stuff.
Besides, I mean, I've only done it once, but you wrap the variety show gifts. It's basically the exact same thing as that.
It's the lucky bit.
It's basically a potluck.
Would be wrap them in the exact same box, so they all have the same shape.
That's too much work for us now.
In that case, we need to start getting some of your cardboard boxes.
There we go. Or we could go one year and buy identical prices for that table.
20 copies of Twilight.
I don't know how the Masters if you have a limited number of people, but this year it felt actually well paced in the amount and the length of it.
That's kind of like, because we're not switching stuff around, what the walk-ons are falling through one after another, so that even though there's the same number of entries, we did go through.
It's fairly quick.
It just felt really not
We
painful.
did do one small tweak to it, which was that we rather than waiting for people to completely leave the room before starting the next person, we basically waited until they'd left the last X, and then we started queuing the next person.
I like that idea can stay.
As a viewer, it was, as I say, it was just improvement.
It was like, but
we started there on time as well.
But putting the skip back on into slots, it will make it slower though. That's
logistically it's much harder to do. I know.
So
yeah, but at the end of the day, we've got to think what do the audience want. You know,
I think
I think someone like Tab and people like that we know are going to be brilliant. I think if you can mix them in, just for the other guys that don't do it so regularly, that they've put themselves out there, it's going to take the pressure off them a little bit.
Sorry, but where you're sat, it actually looks like Joe's got hair again.
I guess another argument for having all the costumes first.
I can't hear you. Sorry.
I guess another argument for having all the costumes first is for the people that do the big, massive fursuity things is they're going to get really, really hot. So it's
we do accommodate.
Yeah, I've done first season stuff, and we tend to talk to the gophers and to the people running the masquerade and come to an arrangement, so it's usually understood and it's fine.
Speaking as someone who actually was in one of those I did appreciate that greatly.
Yeah, I've got to say myself actually, the gophering for the masquerade, that was absolutely wonderful and that was perfect, especially from sort of the standpoint like you, from somebody who's just in a ridiculous costume.
I hear your assistant was pretty
I was going to suggest maybe for some of the more famous faces like Tavern Christian, if we put them later on in the skit.
They wanted it first.
Yeah,
Okay.
they specifically requested to be first get on because they thought it was such an obvious joke that somebody else might be doing it.
It's like for some of the other people who maybe don't do it quite as regularly, it might start like
wow, that was a really absolutely awesome skit, and everybody else
So that
is,
could be an
I don't
intimidating
know,
act
like
to follow.
sort of, it's quite a
Also-
tough act to follow.
Didn't get Tabby Christian's joke.
I have never looked at any of the skits before until
Wait,
this.
get it?
So the
Oh,
order.
you've not seen the original
I don't think I even
No.
looked at it today.
No, I did the order.
Yeah, but I didn't look at the skits.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's
But
fair
we
enough.
will look into it. I mean, I guess the only thing I want to know. So should we put the skits back in the
I prefer
If you
them
can,
mixed
without
in.
being disaster.
I found most
Yeah.
people left after the costumes went, when the masquerade was, the show was finished and the skits came on, most people went out and had a drink or had a smoke. That's when most people.
Yeah, it's hard to kind of keep people in for that longer time as well.
I think from a technical standpoint, if it results in a much smoother experience rather than 5 minutes of switching between masquerade and skit, something's broken, we have to wait, there's a bit more filler, there's another switch, there's a bit more filler. It's kind of like, I think if it's a lot of pain, then I think that maybe as a viewer, I wouldn't mind.
We'll look into it. I think it's more like the more prep work you need to do.
And as another thing, putting the AMVs in was a fantastic idea.
We normally do that for thing, but
Yeah,
this
that's
year.
a long-running anime thing,
Yeah.
to be honest.
They
Put
were good
AMVs in
They were
between
good
skits.
quality AMVs.
They were awesome.
Yes, they were nice.
There's the curation.
Cough located about half an hour before.
But regarding AMVs,
Yep.
So I was just going to say, with the skits, if it makes it very hard to mix them in, the important part is to have something in between them, so that people don't go straight from a perfectly practiced one to somebody who's quite new, because they're all awesome, but it's just a bit bad on the people who are fresh
Yeah,
to it.
we'll look into it. I think it's try to get the balance of timing right for how long we could keep people with them.
Put on Nyan Cat or something on the skits.
Oh, everybody should commission Keith into their skits.
I think everyone did.
Okay, guys, we should move on.
Yeah. So our question. Oh, cool.
So events, yeah, karaoke.
Karaoke. Who attended the karaoke last
I.
Yeah. Okay, so new system, all happy and good?
Yeah.
Now, there's
Well,
a few
no,
little
Gene.
faults, we know this. We know we have a few issues with the badge names and that's all being fixed up. But generally, how did it go?
It was great, but the printing was so hard to read.
Yeah.
Tiny. Couldn't read the list.
Okay, so next time, bigger print.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's
Simple as that. Okay.
But otherwise, it was great. But some
might be
songs have disappeared.
Sorry?
Some songs have disappeared.
Yes, there are some songs which are such poor, absolutely terrible quality. That video-wise, we just cannot show them anymore. And there's one or two songs that we really do not want to show anymore.
I don't think that the song that I want to sing qualifies. I mean,
And remember, there is also the retro Okie tonight.
Anyway, thank you.
If I'm going to be a complete bitch, I walked past and it wasn't loud enough.
We've also... Okay,
Makes sense. For a year, it was not
guys,
loud
we've
enough,
got that
so-
also. We know what went wrong. We lost 2 speakers out of the 4 last night. This evening, thanks to Ash, who's promptly disappeared, we are having a full PA setup put into the retro Okie. The Kotatsu Lounge next door will be in trouble.
Oh boy.
And in future we're going to either use the hotel's own new setup next door or we'll have a much better system. So these little things are fixed up. Our main concern for now is that this is only the second test of Alan's full system. Alan's sitting there in the red bandana, by the way, everyone. Alan and Choco have put Alan and Choco, Joe and Shees have put in thousands of hours of work to make this system work. And it's going to take us time to get used to it, but I think this is going to be the future of karaoke's here for definite. Probably the futures of karaoke's throughout the UK as well. But I think in this respect, come along tonight to the Retro Okie, try it out, and we're all looking for the faults, but we also want to highlight what's good. Okay?
Excellent.
Brilliant.
And it was
Go
good.
ahead. Oh.
Thank you.
Hi, speaking as somebody who was in the pub quiz, the karaoke was loud enough. We could hear it, which was fine, but if it had been much louder, we wouldn't have been able to hear the people who were presenting it.
We normally have some segregation or planning of what type of events should go next. So I think it's like for So like stuff like pub quiz, you can't shout over it because it's a pub quiz in a way.
Plus, I also have tonight to stay.
Okay. Right. Next thing is.
There's someone at the back.
Yes,
I
please.
just wanted to make a comment because Alan has a function on the karaoke system itself. So on the smartphone, it has a feedback button. He would like feedback to make it better. So if you are at the retro karaoke and you have any comments, good or negative, put them on there. So he actually gets them personally and can fix it.
I think one of the things we were missing was a bit of an instruction sheet to get people started into the network and everything else, so that would be quite useful, and we'll try to get that into place as well, along with the feedback button and all that sort of information.
What did people think of the selection of cakes this year? There seemed to be a lot of cakes left over.
Oh, you mean Maid Cafe?
Yeah.
Cake selection was good. Needs more tea selection.
Yeah, there was no fruit tea this time.
Part of that problem was I was so hungover that I didn't have to
A bit more defrosting.
Sorry?
Somewhere a little bit closer in the middle.
They were not in the. They were in the fridge all the last night, so.
Yeah.
But
It's the cookie cheesecake one.
Okay. We will look into that. Yes.
Tiny little request for the cafe. No dairy product option.
We'll pick it up.
Yeah. Question. It was advertised as a cosplay cafe, not a maid cafe. Which one was it? I never went.
Cosplay.
It was cosplay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It just.
Interesting.
It's
Cosplay
more.
maids.
We changed it back to how it was. It's more like as an excuse for us to buy cakes so that you can have nice cakes.
Gluten-free cake would be also amazing.
Make it down.
Yeah.
Gluten-free cake.
By the time that, I don't know whether it was because I got there kind of late, but by the time I got there weren't very many non-super creamy cakes. It's not so I asked for a Victoria sponge or something really boring and plain, and they did. Most of them seemed very creamy, like cheesecakes and things. So
I think they were all like that.
They were, they were all like that. I saw.
Most of them were creamy type of cake.
So like sort of like Victoria sponge type stuff for very boring people like me would be very nice.
I thought we had.
There was the chocolate fudge cake and...
The cakes that I ordered were not what I got. There was some differences that there were boring cakes ordered.
Okay.
Boring.
So this is where the Novotel surprise card.
There was a Victoria sponge type thing ordered, but
Okay.
that became a raspberry cream thing.
No, that's fair enough.
Which was had a lot of cream in it. Yeah.
One more thing. Also for like the cosplay waitresses, can we have sign-ups a bit earlier than go up to what's? If we signed up about a couple of weeks before last, at the 9:20, 21 couple of days, like, that's not much. That's not much wiggle room.
We will have sign up from the website.
Good.
Thank you. But I think it's like, even on the go sheet saying that you want to sign up for Maid Cafe, you keep your note in there as well. Because technically you're over it. So.
I mean, all the make it goes to go for party. You know, I think this was we get me pizza.
Cool, right. Events. What do people like? What's the highlight of the events this year? 1 second. No.
Puzzles.
Puzzles. There's not puzzles, with puzzles.
Puzzle room.
There you go.
Other
years to sort it out this time.
far back.
Yeah.
Many thanks to Karen for bringing
A working version.
Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to next year. I always slow down for it.
There's 5 boxes and shit in my house.
There was loads of really good stuff this year, but I'm very much looking forward to next year to book.
And if you have any suggestions of what you'd like to cook, let us know as well. Because that's also a challenge.
I'd go for that.
We really enjoyed the J-pop quiz. We really enjoyed the J-pop quiz, and also what was it, the Japanese TV show thing that was on yesterday. That was really, really good, but it's a shame it was cut short.
Carol's answer is amazing as always.
Yeah, that's the Carol's run, I think, at the same time as the bomb disposal.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that did cause a minor conflict of scheduling, so I'd love to have gone to both of those. So
we're not here to make sure you can do everything. We're here to make sure that you have difficult choices. When that brings a difficult one, you have to choose again.
Is to wish you could be
A query this year seems to be an awful lot more activity-based sessions rather than like traditional panels. I was wondering, is that like a conscious decision for you guys, or just that's just what people are offering to do?
It's what people's offering, and from most of the feedback that interactive panels and stuff were a lot more popular than what we wanted.
Even the interactive, well, from what I see, it was a lot more going in and doing stuff rather than the previous ones we've had. When I possibly also found there were like 2 or 3 of people exchanging information, ideas and stuff. Is that just not the thing?
I think ultimately the biggest thing comes down to what events people want to do. You know, if people come to us and say, we've got this idea for a great panel, we're not going to say no. But we might. Well, we might.
But it was more of what people were offering rather than you guys going, well, we want more of that.
Also, we do want that as well. Like, if you have an idea, if there is something you want to see but you don't want to host it, tell us, and we can find people.
Yeah, I mean, from the standpoint of somebody who does the sort of like either the crafty or the explaining how to do crafty side of things, panels, it's actually really, really tricky to work out what people want. So if people tell us what they want to know about or what they want to do, they sort of like go, you know, this, that and the others, this new thing, as long as it's not like ridiculously expensive to do, if you let us know in advance, we can look at it well in advance.
Form that no one uses, so.
The other thing, because the theme this year was Cyberpunk, I was just a bit surprised there wasn't more clean stuff happening.
We have a guy who does an amazing cyberpunk panel. He's done it here before.
Will, who couldn't make it, yeah.
He couldn't come.
Yeah.
He was gutted.
Yeah.
So was I.
Historically, the levies taken like this contributing quite a bit. So the other panel you don't generally cool.
Just to clarify, you didn't sit there going, we're rejecting your panel because it's not interactive, we're rejecting your panel because it's not interactive, we're rejecting your panel because it has something to do with anime and manga, and that's just not what we're
Again, so from our sort of standpoint, we did a mix. We did craft and explanation, and we did an explanation. We did all 3.
Just to clarify, all the stuff I saw and all the stuff I saw I thought was great. It was just purely
I loved Maine's Totoro panel last year. I thought that was really accessible for some. I've not done felting before, and it was really easy to get into and really good fun. So if you do felting again,
you want to do again?
yes. But that seems like it could be easy to sort of set up again and do
One slight quibble about the schedule. On the Friday, you had the anime WTF, and then later on the day you had Nerds When Life Gives You Lemons, and they weren't exactly the same panel, but they were very similar.
We all make sure.
Yeah, we don't get to see the content of the panels usually before they run.
And we need people to write the description better on what they're
Oh yes, please. When you're writing the bit on the form that says description as it will appear in the conbook, do not write like an essay on how I'm going to ask Emma to do this, but if she's not able to do it, I'm going to ask Cheryl, and then because then you end up with something sarcastic written.
On that.
Sorry, that was example names.
On that topic.
One thing that I really loved to do last year was the Pepakura. Just to assemble the little paper dolls and everything, and I think we should bring that back again.
Yeah. Trying to get out of doing that this year.
So it happens.
This is. What about? One of the things that we had in the past that seemed to be slightly unpopular. So, craft panels. What time of day would people like to do them?
Morning.
Early in the morning or within in the morning.
Whenever.
Sort of 11 a.m. onwards. Because one of the things that we found today with our shrink plastic ones is sort of like from 10 till, well, from the start till midway through, we didn't get many people, and then we got a rush at the end. I think so, yeah. I think the sort of craft, and then we sort of like had a bit of an overrun because of it. So
I might even start from 9 o'clock and see what happens.
That's the wrong way, Pete. That's the
I guess you're always probably going to have people who have partied a little bit too hard and don't fancy going to a 10 o'clock anything. Yes, you're always going to have that issue.
Yeah.
I think on Sunday as well, we've got the problem with people checking out or check out.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the laser tag. It was very exhausting.
Yes, that's the point.
I've not done it here, but at other events I have they have to build up from scratch, get people interested in travel. So that's something we can really.
It's okay, Phil. I'm interested in colours that blow people's heads off.
Going back to the cosplay making, I found that sort of having workshops that catch with the photography probably deter people going to more of the crafty stuff.
We normally,
getting ready
the schedule was only fixed last week.
Also, it's very difficult to fit everything in
Based on the
without
event,
having
people who, what they request their time as well. Some people didn't want it on that slot, so.
Yeah, pretty much. Things like the Alice in Japan panel and things like the sociological aspect of Japan, personally, I really, really like those types of panels. I know, I think it's only one person doing
Because as somebody who doesn't drink, I quite appreciated panels starting like at 10 in the morning because they're the quiet and none were ever empty.
Although
And it was nice.
that will never change. It will always start at 10. Ideally, we will probably want to start at 9.
Chap right at the back there, sorry.
Pretty much the same points, making really craft ones, but this year things clashed a little bit. So you had two craft related ones going on at the same time, which wasn't a major problem. It wasn't sort of like, oh no, I'm never going to come here again.
Which particular ones?
The Shrinky Dink and the Cone Bag Creations.
I'm thinking more of the cosplay side. There was something that clashed
we will
earlier on
we normally
Saturday.
look at more detail about us.
Yeah.
It's more accommodating the event runners' personal schedule as well.
Because last year was great, because we went right from one to another, and it was absolutely brilliant.
Maybe sort of like categorising in sort of like very narrow categories.
There's no power.
Oh, that's all. I didn't realise that.
The darker colours, the cosplay events, and then the light colours information.
They're actually heat in the different colours, and I was like, it's a different colour, but I can't understand what it means.
I made this on Wednesday night and I had to make someone print it and I will. We will more we will add this in the office.
Sorry, chap at the front.
Just a couple of those people who have never updated the calendar, the Google Calendar of all the events from last year. And the front up to that.
That's why we lost.
I thought it was just all the events just on Saturday morning appeared in my calendar. This is great.
That's amazing. Quickly, so if anyone's got any specific feedback on our panels, come talk to us after this. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, what you'd like more, what you'd like less of.
On the topic of the makeup panel, I don't know if it's a new thing how that was done or whose idea it was, but having the video camera actually on the table so that you had the big close up on the screen of what she was doing was a really good way of doing it, especially for something that's small detail.
We will do. I mean, if people request stuff like that. I mean, when we look at panels and say we can help it better, we can. For makeup one,
Like we did obvious electronics as well, the soldering, we had a clip of that last year.
How do you get the embroidery and such? That sort of thing fits it very well. Obviously these could be parts around, but it depends what you're doing.
Yeah, I think with the hotel having finally big projectors and it's like easy that we can start being quickly about. But before, remember, us we have the projectors right in the middle of the room and just
One of my friends went to the store for the first time, and the only reason they knew the timings of the dealing rooms until before Monday was because we told her. And seeing as that's fixed, I feel that they should send emails out
Your friend had a stall?
Yeah.
So in the dealer's pack it specifically says 7 to 11 a.m. set up 11 a.m. onwards.
That's the thing, I don't think she received that for some reason.
It was all there because she filled in the dealer's membership form.
Also, we will endeavour to actually the bring the buy time. But a lot of things that normally it should be on this piece of paper.
Yeah, related to the Google Calendar thing, I think that's an amazing idea because obviously everybody will get their contacts, which is great. I didn't even know it was. I volunteer for it, but I can't at the moment. But having a social media presence, I know Minamicon, etc.
Social media.
I know, it's not retro enough. I know.
No, there's always
But something like that might be something Minami could consider. This thing's starting now. But there's nothing to say if it's a Facebook or anything.
Previously, when you can preload all of the tweets in on your account and just have
and
it
then
fire
they
out
pop
on,
out
so it'll just fire out.
I'm pretty sure they know.
Like that.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know whether there's another voluntary slots that could be filled.
We will look into something. I mean, some of the stuff like if we have time and stuff, or like I want to screen in the hotel lobby that could just have PowerPoint. There's stuff that we will look into as well. Lady with red hair.
I was just going to say, I quite like just having the program and you can just go through it and highlight what you want to go to. Although I
No,
really
you still get that. You get it.
I appreciate the Google Calendar and stuff.
Yeah. We'll look into getting. Well, first we'll find whoever the guy that made it first, and then we can accustom to do it for us.
We have a friend that makes it most years. He didn't have time this year, and then someone else did it this year. But he normally puts descriptions in, so whoever did it this year, we have a config with the descriptions.
I'll put it on there.
There you go.
So I have something quite important to ask. So I personally feel that the events are a bit samey year after year, but I don't know if you guys feel that way as well, or even if it's an issue, I might be worried about something that.
Is there enough variety of events that coming back each year is not boring you?
Does it feel tired? As in, do you rock up and think, okay, well it's the same old, same old?
Because like, if you look at like
It's
a lot of,
comfortable, like,
like if you look at all the quizzes and stuff, those are always
I mean, as someone who runs events, me and Zay always sit down and try and come up with at least one or two things that we think of course. And like this year we did the drink mix, which were very popular and seemed to go down quite well.
There's a lot of things which I would say is like Minami bread and butter, which actually fills up quite a lot of the schedule, which is what my main concern was, the likes of the pub quiz, the counts ask, and there's lots of things which consistently run, which are fantastic and really, really good. But I just worry if it's too much of the same.
It's still running.
Yeah, I think there'd be an outcry if certain things were cut.
Yeah, would be, sorry.
More variety in it, but I couldn't tell you what to cut. Exactly. We
try not to cut by extending the Minami longer.
I don't know, it might be worth putting some of the things on rotation. So not getting rid of them, but just like cycling them out.
Well, we do cycle stuff out, like cycle it up.
Right, Lady Diana, sorry, she's been.
Yep, sorry.
As a point, when cosplay and iron artists were in the same time slot, if they could be in different time slots, because I know there were some people who went to one who would have liked to go to the other, do both of them. Were they? I thought they were in the same time slot.
No, they weren't.
No, they followed on.
What was on at the same time?
They followed on.
There was the Comic Jam session, so wing making.
Okay.
If you did iron artists, you could then walk into
the other room.
Yeah, no, so my friend said they both.
It might have just been too close to the opposite ends of the hotel.
Yeah.
No,
Opposite ends
My battery ran. Especially if your calf covered in tin foil and duct tape.
Yep.
I mean, I think probably closing up, but so does anyone have anything that they thought was specifically, oh my god, you have to change this.
Curiosity thing. I noticed that the badges this year did have the print in the back, and they've done it the last 2 years. Okay. The last 2 years they've had like this.
This is the most crucial thing.
We will.
Well, last 2 years I think.
This is crucial to the code.
No, 17.
Okay, we'll take that one on board.
Yeah, we'll
sorry.
take that one on board.
Sorry, we do need to move this real quick.
I feel that, I mean, I might suggest, after some research, I might suggest some games as well, but I feel that there should be a little bit more variety in the games in the variety show itself.
Okay.
It seemed there was a lot more queuing.
Sorry. So the event's not starting on time, I guess.
Not as bad as some cons.
Okay.
Well, people queue for events even though like.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of queues that didn't have to happen because there's not queues and then just wanted to do the event for yourself.
Basically, you cannot stop
It's what the British do, we queue.
There was a queue outside one of our panels at 5 to the hour for a panel that definitely wasn't going to go to the scratch. So why not just sit in the bar until the actual scratch?
So would it be possible to arrange such a hotel if the bar isn't being run by the most grumpy man in the world?
Which one?
I don't know, but there's somebody shouting at somebody all the time. It puts all the staff on edge, and then
There's a new general
as well as
manager
perhaps some
at the
professionals
moment
perhaps
this
we might
year,
want.
so there's a new general manager started here, so it's not quite there. So.
Same guy, I think he was there last year as well, and it's grumpy and mean to the other staff.
Okay, we'll look into it though.
Yeah.
The bringing by room seemed very much under capacity. There's quite a lengthy queue throughout the entire run of the bringing
The
by.
problem with bringing by is that if we don't have it up there, we will lose it. And we always been looking into like maybe change the bring by, but it's something we want to do, but can't figure out a solution.
The biggest issue with the bringer by this time was that they were letting less people in, which meant you could see the items, but it didn't mean you were waiting a lot longer in the queue and they couldn't get rid of it.
Almost entirely empty with a very large queue pretty much the entire weekend.
Is it possible to have like a time limit or something that people can actually be in there? Because they're letting less people in, but they're taking so long to get through it that you are waiting in that queue close to an hour.
We were making sure the hotel shift was always committees on there at that point.
Well, it's fine, it's just that if the queue could be cut out, it would be an extra.
Or you make the
Maybe.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's okay, we're going to work on that, sorry.
I noticed as well, we had no special cocktails this year.
The F&B manager is just been replaced, or they haven't fired a new F&B manager yet, or food and beverage manager for the hotel. So
It's a bit depressing. I like my Minami special cocktails.
We'll work on it.
Yeah.
I know it's been said, but I was gutted that there was no cooking. And I couldn't even eat most of it last year.
For the room by it seemed like there were lots of things that were there that I was very interested in, but they were really expensive and I would have bought them had they been less. And if people have had an opportunity maybe on Friday evening to go and realise they really, really wanted that to sell, so they don't have to take it home, but if only they priced it.
But that's up to the seller to price it.
They are free to reprice things.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So you could ask who the seller was, or haggle yourself if you want.
Yeah, it's pretty much tradition that on Sunday you go and anything that you haven't sold, you hike the price down if you really want it gone.
That's a lot.
It's not. That's not a bad idea.
Like this person's interested in
But they're not very 20, so they're fine.
I mean, we can put that as a note for the staff and we can prices we can go for. You're welcome to check your form at any time.
No, I mean not as a seller.
No, but but
we're sort of like addressing your
so
like
you can
things were expensive.
ask them then you want this price and we mark it on their form. So if they go and see it, check the form.
Guys, I hate to say this, but we are absolutely at time. We've got gophers waiting to take that wall straight down.